Okay, I think I'm live now. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, it's Jessica. So I am going to be talking today about a couple of different topics. So I am going to be covering some job seeker questions because I know it's been a long time since we talked about just, common job seeker questions. I have been doing these on Sunday, so I wanted to go ahead and restart that up again. And today we have a couple of just commonly asked questions. And the other thing I want to get into are just recruiting, like the world of recruiting, some highlights. I'll probably save that to the end. And first, just want to get into some of the things I see as a corporate recruiter. If you're new to the channel, I have been working in the HR or human resources space for a long time. Since even college, I worked to find and identify talent at my school, and then I delved right into working as a recruiter full time, 100%, and have been doing that, goodness, since 2013, since 2013, 2014. And so I've learned a lot along the way. I've also held 15 plus jobs myself. And so I've used my own knowledge as a recruiter to help me move into different spaces, even spaces that I did not have the experience for. So we'll talk about that towards the end, but I've definitely moved into spaces where I didn't have a ton of experience in, but I knew how to leverage the skills that I did have and make the right connections. So we're going to get started here. My name is Jessica Hicks on LinkedIn. If you're joining from YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn and watching, welcome. This is my second broadcast on LinkedIn, also broadcasting on Twitch, just trying that out a little bit. Hello, Victoriously Shay. Welcome in. Nice to see you here. All right, so I want to dig into this first one because it's something I hear a lot. I hear actually from different people because right now we're in a kind of interesting time where there's recent graduates trying to get jobs, and you're seeing in the news that companies are like, we can't find people. And you're also seeing people that have taken some time off, whether that was purposely themselves that making the decision to take time off, or like many were forced to take time off because of layoffs and furloughs and things. But we're seeing that a lot of people are asking, how do they get this niche experience? They want to move into this space. They've been doing, I don't know, teaching for the longest time. Now they want to become a corporate instructor and they don't have that experience. How can they do it? Or they want to move into IT. But then you're also finding folks that they just graduated and they're like, hey, I have internship experience, or I don't have much of any experience, but I need a job. These companies are saying they can't find people. Well, how do I get a job? So this is the question: needing experience to get experience, but how? So I'm going to address this. And my really simple answer to that is you have to be a little creative. Hello, Cassandra. It's been a while. How are you? Hope you're doing well. And hello, Jahari. Welcome. Good afternoon. All right. So needing experience to get experience. Why do I say you need to be creative? It's literally because you have to get creative. You can't just make up things. You can't make up the experience that you don't have, right? But there are different things you can do to get experience in the non-traditional way. And I'm saying non-traditional because I'm not going to tell you to just magically get a job at Microsoft for the, role that you want. You have to really use your network of people. We all know people, somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, right? Whether they're in your family, your friend circle, you went to school, you know some people, or your teachers, your professors, whether you're high school, college, whatever, you know people. You have to be confident enough to go to folks and say, I want to work for you. And you have to be willing to potentially work for little pay or maybe no pay. You may be volunteering with, let's say, a professor. Hey, I see that you need someone to do X, Y, and Z. I'm here. I can do it. I'm happy to do it for you. If you can pay me, great. This is what I'll be looking for. And if they say they can't pay you, do it anyway because you need to get the experience. And the reason experience is so valuable over even the money that you may gain is that you can use that experience you get to now transfer that to something else. So let's say I want to become I'm just making up something here. I want to become well, let's take my actual example. So I thought I was going to do something completely outside the recruitment world. And I took on an internship at a charter school. Now, I was paid for it. I think if you're working someplace, organization, a company, big company, you should be getting paid. However, I was pretty creative in how I looked for it. I used my school resources to find a job that was not in the space that I was even really interested in, but I was interested enough to say, oh my gosh, I can get this experience and move into something else because I need an internship. I didn't really have any job experience that was, business like. I had been in sales and customer service and talking on the phone to people. That wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I took on an operations internship. And during that operations internship, guess what? I actually got HR experience. And one of my mentors had been telling me about trying out HR. Well, that actually led me to getting my next job, which was a recruiting internship at a really large PR firm based in St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I'm from. So you have to be willing to take chances, be a little creative. Know that operations internship, I really didn't know what to expect. It was this charter school down the street from me from the university. I literally walked to the school every day, not knowing what in the world I'd be doing that day because I was an intern. They threw everything at me. But the HR person left. I'll just say that in air quotes. And they said, hey, you're an intern. You want to do this? And I started taking on little HR tasks. And that really led to my next opportunity. So you do have to be creative, ask around, get to know people in your family, ask people what you can do for them, or even better, find things that you can do for people. I remember I was babysitting, I was doing hair, like anything that you can do. And guess what? If you're providing customer service to someone, that's a skill that you can now have and it's transferable. Communication, customer service, time management, team collaboration, these are all things that you can't really teach a person. They have to just be able to do it through their experiences that they've had. You really can't teach that much. You can't really teach someone how to be a better team player. You can't really teach someone how to communicate better unless they have those basics already. So those are my tips for just getting some basic experience. Don't be picky. Don't be super picky. Think about transferable skills, because skills I learned during that internship, I was able to transition them over to something even better. And that led to my career today. So that's my tip for you have no experience. You need to get experience to get the job you want. Be creative, be open-minded, and I promise you things will work out. Things will work out in your favor if you think differently, think optimistically, and see the opportunity in everything that comes your way. Okay, let me take a look at some comments and then I'm going to move on to the next topic. Jahari is saying remote internship opportunities are the way to go to get experience. Definitely. And there's a lot of internship recruitment happening right now. Folks are recruiting for, the spring, for the summer, even right now. So you'll be seeing a lot of those opportunities popping up. So apply early. Don't be like some folks and wait. Oh, I'll apply in January. Well, these companies will already have their folks hired by then, right? So don't wait. I used to recruit interns all the time, and this would be the time during the fall is when I would find people for the spring and get those folks in place. And so the early birds get the worm, I guess. Very good point. All right, Cassandra's saying it's been around. Hope you're. Oh yeah, I'm glad you're doing well, Cassandra. That's wonderful. I'm really glad to hear. Hey Barry, my member Barry's in the chat, and my member Edward is in the chat. Welcome. Edward is multitasking. All right. So the next topic I wanted to touch on today was waiting to hear feedback. And if you're liking the content, please do hit that like button. It lets YouTube know that you're liking the video so it can share with other people. So if you think other people will find value out of this video, hit the like button so more people can find the video. All right, so you're waiting to hear feedback after your interview. Any tips? So my main tip is right here. You always want to get a contact. So if you are about to have an interview with someone or doing that interview with someone, you want to find out what is the best way to reach that person you're talking with. And you want to be able to understand what the next steps are in the process. So ask them what the next steps are and the time frame that they're looking at. Their normal time frame, that interviewer may be like, oh, our typical time frame for me to get back to you is 2 weeks. Well, if I don't know that as a job seeker, I'm going to be over here panicking for 2 weeks, right? So, so that's really tough if you don't really know what to expect. So always understand the expectations. It is not going to be taken any way negatively if you're asking that question of, what is the time frame? What are the next steps? And then what's the best way to reach you if I have questions? Now, most recruiters will go ahead and offer that information. Like normally it's pretty standard for me to close out my calls by saying, hey, if you have questions, you can reach me via my email, and folks will already have my email. So that's an easy way to just know who to contact. And then don't be afraid to follow up. So just be sure that you're reaching out to them and asking, hey, we talked on this date. I'm just looking for an update. I'm really interested in the company. And then also thank you notes. You can always send a thank you note. That's a really good way to follow up maybe the day after as a nice reminder about the conversation you have with them, your interests, and really restating those things. So those are two different ways you can follow up. Now, I wouldn't say that you have an interview on a Friday and on Monday morning you're like, hey, so what's going on with this job? I want to know some updates. Well, over a weekend we're not working, so you're probably not going to get anything that fast. But that's why I always say ask for the time frame that they're looking to hire and what's the next expectation in the process, because again, like we can share that with you as a recruiter, that time frame, so you're not like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 days, I haven't heard anything. Well, maybe that's a normal process. All right, so the next thing here I want to touch on, I have covered this before. Which job search website should you use? It really does depend. Now, I always say LinkedIn is a great place to start if you are a professional job seeker. So when I say professional, I'm talking about, you're looking for corporate internships, you're looking for design jobs, marketing jobs, HR jobs, sales jobs, marketing jobs, anything under that bucket that most corporations will be recruiting for. I personally say LinkedIn, because most companies are posting their jobs directly onto LinkedIn. Like it's aggregated through their website and it's brought right over to LinkedIn automatically. So you're able to get and see those jobs really quickly if you're searching out there. Lots of reasons why I say LinkedIn beyond that, but I'll stick with that one as the main point. The other thing is, you may want to look into, I shouldn't even say you may want to, you definitely should look for niche job sites. So for example, creative folks, your web designers, your video producers, you're going to want to look on a site like behance.com, right? And so there's a lot of different niche sites. So whatever industry you're in, you should be definitely, if you're a professional job seeker, looking at LinkedIn, but you should also look at some of the niche job sites. Maybe they're, catered to women in a certain field, women in IT, or Black engineers, or Asian photographers, whatever. So there's so many job sites. But what companies will also do, in addition to LinkedIn, they will post to certain job sites that are very niche to find diverse talent, to find creatives, to find whatever niche they're looking for. So you want to know what those niche sites are. And the way you do that is by talking with other professionals, talking with recruiters, just like this. So for me, IT jobs, dice.com, LinkedIn, always. Creatives, Behance, always. LinkedIn, always. For more of the hourly type of jobs, I would say your Indeed, your Monster.com are good as well. And some of the other ones are, there's so many now. There's so many, you can't really go wrong. But I think when you get into the professional world, you always want to start with LinkedIn. That's just my personal suggestion, because not only are companies, having their jobs aggregated there, but recruiters are there. There's a lot of things that you can research in LinkedIn. You can find out who works at a company. So who can you actually reach out to better your chances and use your network that way. So there's a lot of different things I say are great with LinkedIn. So I'm always biased on that one. Thank you, Edward. Yes, please do hit that like button if you are enjoying the content. All right, so this question I like talking about because a lot of people look at job requirements, looking at a job posting or job description online, and you're looking at those requirements. That's normally what you go to first. It's like, okay, this is the job. All right, cool. This is what I'm doing. All right, what do I need to get the job? So it's a struggle because you may have times where you see a job and they just want two requirements. That's not the most common though. A lot more often you're going to see 5, 6, 7, even 10 bullet points of requirements. But you really have to read through that. Most of the time, the requirements that are listed at the top are the most needed requirements. And more companies are even putting out job descriptions that say, experience in Microsoft Word is a requirement, experience in Microsoft Excel is a preferred. Now, if you're seeing this is a plus factor, or this is a nice to have, or any of that, those are additional requirements. You don't need to have those experiences or skills or knowledge to apply to the job that you're looking at. You can even apply to a job that has a ton of requirements, because most likely the more requirements that a company is listing, the less likely it is that a person is going to actually meet every single one of those requirements. So I don't want you to be scared away from going ahead and applying to that job if you don't meet every single one of those requirements. And again, sometimes I've been a job seeker myself. Sometimes you're looking at this and I'm like, you really expect someone to have all these skills? But most often it's, look, we're listing 3 to 4 that are must-haves. Sometimes it's even one that's a must-have. You have to have the skill or experience. And the rest is more of like, oh, we would love if this person had all this other stuff. So I always say, yes, go ahead and apply. If you meet most of the requirements or the core requirement, apply. Clearly note in your resume how you have that experience. Don't let that hold you back, because in my experience as a recruiter, oftentimes men, and this is a shout out to women, oftentimes men will go ahead and apply when they see a list of requirements, even if they don't have them, right? Now, women, we're a little more by the book. We're like, oh, we don't have those right criteria. We don't have all of them. So I'm just not going to apply. Okay, let me look at the comment. So Victoriously Shay says, career builder. Is that still around? I think they are. I don't know if that's as popular, career builder, but I have heard of career builder. I think it is. Let's do a little search here and just double check. Let me cover my bases here, but I think it is around. Yes, career builder. So that's another one that you can use. Thank you, Victoriously Shay. And Victoriously Shay, just going to shout you out. Victoriously Shay, if I can say your name, provides some interesting content around like benefits. So if you're looking to understand benefits, especially government benefits, her page is really interesting. You can check her out. Barry is one that provides tech info. So if you're interested in tech, Barry Johnson will be a good one to follow in here. And Edward, if you're interested in aviation, he is a member as well to my channel and my moderator in most of my chats, but he does provide a lot of aviation related content if you're looking to check him out. All right, so you use Glassdoor. Glassdoor, you know what? I'm so sad that I didn't remember to say Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a really good one. Thank you, Victoriously Shay. And the good thing about Glassdoor is you can find different ratings generally to see how folks like the company. You do have to keep those in consideration, because a lot of times people don't write reviews sometimes unless they're disgruntled. So it's got to be either extreme. So they're extremely happy a lot of times, they're incentivized to make a post, or they're extremely unhappy because something went wrong, or they were maybe terminated or laid off or whatever. So you have to give it a little bit of balance when you look at Glassdoor, and you also do have to keep in mind the years that people are posting, because things do change. But when you look at some of the recent comments, it can help you understand more of the culture, even some of the roles and jobs that people are doing. And it is a great place to look for jobs as well. Yeah, and companies are using Glassdoor to advertise their jobs as well. So thank you, Victorious Shay, for mentioning Glassdoor. Jahari is saying, I love LinkedIn because you can chat with the recruiters for the job also. Great point, Jahari. I literally create my own interview. That is a great point. And you can, you can talk to a recruiter, you can reach out to a hiring, manager directly. It can be really helpful. Or if you know someone at the company, LinkedIn's really good about pulling your contacts and saying, hey, you know these 4 people, or you went to school with this person. Well, they're working at the company you want to work at now. And you can leverage that relationship you already have, which is really cool. Whereas otherwise, I don't know how I would do all of that research to find out who works at companies other than maybe reaching out to a few friends or making a Facebook post, which, if you're like me, I'm not really on Facebook anymore. So yeah, it would be really tough. But yes, I do like LinkedIn for that reason too. For sure. Really great comment. Gonna get a little bit of water. And I'm going to look at Cassandra's note. Let's see. So Cassandra's saying, how do I become a member of your channel? Oh, how do you become a member? There should be a join button either on this video somewhere or in the community page. So on my community page, you should see a join button. If you don't, I can always provide you a link to become a member. But yeah, you should be able to see it. Sometimes it's in the chat even. Sometimes I get a little note that says join. But yeah, you can definitely join the channel. I offer different memberships, even as low as 99 cents, just to support the channel. And then also, if you're a job seeker, there's a specific membership for that as well. Thanks for asking. Great question. Hopefully you find it. It should be around here somewhere. It should just say join or in the chat feature. I have heard it is best to apply on the weekend versus a weekday. Is that true? So maybe. It really depends on the recruiter's process. The most important beyond that, like getting away from applying on a weekday versus a weekend, the most important thing when applying is to apply early. So let's say a job is posted, was just posted last Friday. I'm going to want to apply right now, like today. As long as my resume isn't horrid, I am going to want to apply today, as opposed to waiting a week, getting everything 100% perfect, or having 15 people look at my resume and then I'm applying next week. That's important because those first 1 to 2 weeks are crucial for the recruiter. We're really looking at that traffic more heavily than we will about 2 to 3 weeks out, depending on that role. So especially if it's an easy role to fill, like let's say an administrative assistant, a lot of folks will meet some requirements for administrative assistants because it's not a very niche field unless they're requiring something, kind of out there beyond what the typical requirements are: project management, communication, typing, et cetera, et cetera. So for that type of role, you got to be quick. It doesn't matter if you apply a weekend, a weekday, whenever you see the job, you just need to apply. Apply ASAP, make it, package it up real nice, but apply quickly. For a tech job that's cloud management, where we're not going to get a lot of applicants, tracking, it does not matter. Just apply when you see the job. Just apply because you're probably looking at lower traffic for that type of job. Now, I think the reason why people say to apply over the weekend versus a weekday is because on a Friday, let's say we post up a job. So I'm a recruiter, I post a job on a Friday. I'm expecting Monday morning to go into, the requisition, which is what we call the jobs. I want to go into my requisition in my ATS or applicant tracking system, and I'm going to be looking for applicants heavily on that Monday, right? I may not check as heavily Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm definitely checking on that Monday because I'm like, ooh, we got some weekend traffic. So it can be a good thing because you know that recruiter's most likely going to be ready on Monday morning to look for who applied. It can also be slightly a downside because most people will apply to jobs over a weekend, especially if it's a professional job. Because what? Why would we do that? Well, we got more time. We're not working. We're not busy with the kids in school and whatever else. So over a weekend, you're going to see more traffic. And that's what we're expecting as a recruiter. So it can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. At the end of the day, don't really worry. Don't get caught up into that. Just apply as soon as you see the job and as soon as you feel ready to apply. If your resume is crappy, um, go ahead and quickly get that, under control. But if you have a relatively strong resume, nothing holding you back from applying. Also, applications are getting shorter and shorter for most companies. They're trying to make the process for candidates a little smoother. Right? So there shouldn't really be a hindrance to you applying quickly. Okay. Cassandra, hit the join button located below the video. Thank you, Edward. I'm in Restream, so I can't see what's going on in YouTube space right now. That's weird. It's not showing up. Hopefully you find it, Cassandra. I would love to have you join the membership. All right. So what was the next question I had here? I'm going to try to get through the next ones quickly. All right. So this is one of my favorite topics. Actually, it's kind of weird. I'm geeking out a little bit. But how do I approach answering behavior-based interview question or behavioral interview questions? So when I first found out about behavior-based interview questions, I myself was like, oh my gosh, because at the time I was an intern and all of us were really trying to figure out, okay, we just graduated. How do we get like our big girl job, right? Our big boy jobs. And a lot of companies were implementing behavior-based interviews. And what do I mean when I say behavior-based interviews? I mean an interview where you're answering questions that are framed in a way where you have to give a specific scenario where you've done something in the past. So one example may be, give me an example of a time where you were able to work really collaboratively within a team. Or give me an example of a time where you needed to give tough feedback to a direct report. So it's tough in a sense that you can't just talk about, why are you interested in a job? That should be fairly straightforward. You should be able to answer that. Oh, I'm interested because I really like the company because of ABC, right? But when you're asked a question about a specific time that you did something, it forces you to think of something that you actually did in the past. So it's tough because you can't just normally BS your way through that question, right? You have to give a specific response. So that kind of puts people in their tracks where they're like, ooh, how do I get ready for answering a series of behavior-based questions? I got to be on my toes, all of this. So the first response I will give is don't be afraid to take a moment to think, to tell the interviewer, hey, that's a really great question. I'm going to need a moment to think of a great answer for you. Or you could even say, I've heard candidates say this, oh, there's so many instances where I've had this happen. Let me think of a really good one that I can describe well for you. Something like that you can say to buy yourself a little time and let the interviewer know, hey, I'm thinking. And we get it. As a recruiter, I know when I'm asking a behavior-based question, a person is going to have to think. They're not just going to be like, oh, well, yeah, I got one right here in most cases. The other tip I have is to think about the job that you're applying to and think about what are some qualities that the company or the hiring manager is going to be looking for in this person. So for a recruiter, I already know I'm going to be asked about probably candidate experience, project management, how I can, balance different priorities, and also how well I can work within a team and how well I communicate with others, because I have to communicate well with candidates and hiring managers. So knowing those things, I can kind of foresee what kind of questions I would be asked. And I can now think of some examples ahead of time of where I was a great communicator, I was this, I did that, right? So anything that you can do to get ahead of it and think about some examples that may work for the job that you're applying to can help. Now, what happens when you go into an interview and they ask something completely against what you thought they were going to ask you, right? Because that happens. Well, this is where I suggest following the STAR method. And the STAR method, it's just a process or approach to answering interview questions. I actually recommend this method to any question that you're answering. You want to provide the situation so that you can clearly state to the other person what was happening as you're explaining this scenario from the past. The task involved, what was it that you needed to do? The actions that you took. Now, this is important because I have heard so many people, especially during the time where I was working as a recruiter at Nestle, or IT at Nestle. And it was really difficult to get people to say what they actually did, to just say the word I. This is what I did. Myself, Jessica, this is what I did. Instead, a lot of folks are almost conditioned to say, this is what we did as a team, and we just, and they just, and it's like, well, what did you do in that scenario? So be comfortable saying I and be able to talk about the actions you took. And then always talk about results. And this is why I say this is a good approach to interviewing in general, because when you talk about results, everyone can relate to that. And it shows that you actually can accomplish real things for a company. So you can, accomplish things, the results, what the end goal is for the things that you're doing on a day to day. And that really closes out that scenario if you're giving an example for someone. So I always recommend the STAR method for interviewing in general. All right, let me come over to the comments and see what's going on. I think that Cassandra is trying to figure out about this join button. Interesting. You're not seeing one. It's all right. We'll figure it out. You may be able to find it on the community tab. Spiky X says, I get asked that and put the same response. You get asked the same questions that I mentioned earlier. You get the same response. Wait, I think I need to learn more about that. And you're welcome, Cassandra. You're so welcome. Hi, officially Coco. Welcome. Nice to see you here too. All right, so I think the last one that I had, let me see here. Oh, actually, I think that was the last question I had. So I've covered the main ones. I'm happy to answer any other questions beyond that we've discussed. So Jahari is saying, I always tell candidates to have stories prepared. Yes, it is helpful. And the other thing of why it's helpful is, you may not get a question where you can use an example that you have prepared, but it does help you get more comfortable answering those type of questions. And it just flows a little more smoother. It flows better. It's just, if you haven't prepared for answering these type of questions, you might fumble a little bit when you're when you're talking. And as long as you can prepare, it will help you be more comfortable. And again, this is something I would tell candidates too. Behavior-based questions, like, don't look at it as, oh my gosh, this interview is going to be so tough, it's going to be terrible. Get your head in the game, right? I know Edward is watching the game right now. So get your head in the game, be positive, and think about the opportunity. So what's the opportunity in being in an environment where you're asked behavior-based interview questions? Well, guess what? This is a great time where you get to brag about yourself. It's expected for you to say the word I. You don't have to say we did this, and we don't have to be as collaborative as we normally are, right? At work, we always have to say, oh, we're such a team, we did this, and we're great, and da 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 da. That's awesome. However, during this interview, you can actually comfortably say, I did X, Y, and Z. This is why it was so great. We hit this goal. We brought up sales by this percent, and it was because I made the decision to blah, 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 right? You can actually comfortably brag about yourself. And that's a great advantage. So don't look at behavior-based interviews as this scary thing. It is just going to make for a really good conversation where you're going to be asked questions where you are going to be able to highlight why it is you're so great, how you've done great things in the past at various companies or various even for yourself if you were self-employed, but how you've been able to meet different goals. It really shows for the company how you can be an asset to them, because if you've done all of that, well, we got to hire you, right? So it's really great, and I hope people think more optimistically about those type of questions. Spiky X was saying why I want to work there. I say the same stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, I have heard, here's the thing, I have heard candidates not be able to answer that question though. Why do you want to work at the company? Why are you interested in the company? And then you just kind of fumble through, oh, I've heard great things. Now, here's the thing with that. Because I have caught someone where they didn't really know about the company. And the reason why is that they gave me a very generic answer. And so I am a very inquisitive person. And I asked them, oh, well, tell me more about that. I think they said like, oh, I saw the company did this, or their branding is great. Oh, the company's great. Well, if you just say the company's great, well, I'm going to be like, oh, well, how so? What have you seen about the company that really caught you interested? What do you like about our X, Y, and Z, our products, or our products or services, whatever? And you should be able to answer that. You should know generically what kind of products we have, what our branding is, what our messaging, because look, there's Google. Like, it takes literally not even 5 minutes to go onto Google, look up a company, and get a general sense of what they're about, their products and their services. Now, I know there are some large companies out there where you're like, what in the world does this company even do? But Google makes it easy because every company has to have an about section, and that about section is normally in the job description. But even if you didn't look there, you can find it on Google, you can find it on a company site, and you can get a general sense of what in the world the company does, how do they make money, what are they all about, right? Just like for me, if you look on LinkedIn, you're going to get a general sense of what is Jessica all about. So it's the same thing. Take a few minutes to look at it. Because look, if you come off in a way that you're really not interested in the company, you're just kind of going through the motions here with the company to see what happens, that doesn't end well. And throughout the interview process, someone is going to dig in. You may get past the recruiter, that first did the screen with you, but normally you're going to have 2 to 3 interviews. And in those cases, someone's going to be like, oh, well, tell me more about that and give me more details, or what interests you so much. And you got to be ready to talk about it. And you're only going to be ready to talk about it if you've actually done your homework. So always do your homework. It's not working. Oh, it's not working. Wait, what's not working? That you're saying the same stuff that you're interested. Well, you have to be a little specific. So don't make it seem very generic on, oh, I just like the company. You should be given some details for sure. Alrighty. Well, I think I have covered everything. Now, what's going into the recruitment world on my end? There is still a lot of hiring to be done. A lot of other recruiters are feeling the same way. And I would say there are specific industries that are heavier and certain, skill sets. So folks that have 2 to 3 years of experience and beyond that, it's kind of like they're in this golden place. A lot of folks are looking for that. So the junior level roles to mid-level type of positions, definitely in demand, and even more senior roles for sure. But who's having a hard time are the folks that don't quite have that 2 years of experience. So that's why I say be more creative, use your network, see who can vouch for you, see who is working at a company that may have something that even if it's not the exact thing you want to do, your dream job, if it gets you to a place where you have more skills, you have more transferable skills where you can get there, go ahead and take it, because guess what? Time is going to pass either way. Whether you're continuously looking and holding out for that dream job, or if you're working in a job where you're gaining some skills that helps you quicker to getting that dream job, right? The time is still going to pass. So that is my tip that I'll leave you with. And hello, Minister Terrence, welcome in. All right, so that's the tip I'll leave you with. You have to be creative, and I should say open-minded on here as well, right? All right. Oh, Shay's still in here. Hey, Shay, you're still in here? And hello, Terrence, welcome in. You're saying hi to everyone. Okay. Well, cool. Well, thank you all for being here this Sunday afternoon. I appreciate you, and I definitely hope this is helpful. If you know someone that's looking for a job and look, they're struggling. They've been struggling. Like, it's been a couple weeks, maybe it's been a couple months. They haven't found anything yet. Definitely share my channel with them. I am going to continue having the job related topics. And if they have questions, or if any of you have questions, please do put them in the comment section. Go to my community tab, leave me a question there. I am happy to discuss and provide any tips, because I know it can be tough. It really can be tough. I am a recruiter. I've worked for a recruiter for many, many years. And I've also been a job seeker myself, and I get it. I get both sides of the, scenario, and it can be tough, but I'm here to help it be a little less, a little less of a mess, I guess. A little less messy. So thank you again for watching. Please do hit the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys and ladies.